All right, to California and the primary that's still a month off, but for one Meg Whitman, a powerful endorsement coming just today. Former Vice President Dick Cheney saying she is the one to lead California out of its mess, even if the Veep's candidates don't always lead the way in the polls. For example, his handpicked guy is trailing Rand Paul in Kentucky, but if the former eBay boss is worried the Cheney endorsement could be the kiss of death, she is not indicating that right now. She joins us right now. Meg, good to have you.
Hey, Neil, how are you?
I'm okay. Do these endorsements mean one thing or the other? I don't mean to dismiss the vice president's endorsement. It's a big deal. But this year, it's almost like the kiss of death when establishment folks back candidates. Are you worried?
I think endorsements do make a difference, and I want endorsements from all parts of the Republican Party, and I'm delighted to have Vice President Cheney's endorsement. He's been a long-serving Republican. He was a vice president under George Bush in a Republican administration, and so I do believe endorsements matter.
All right, now he, of course, is seen, fairly or not, as a sort of polarizing conservative figure, yet you are not, across the board, this uber-conservative. I even know when it comes to the Arizona immigration law, it's not a black and white issue for you. So are you at a sync with some of the extreme right in your party who say Arizona's right to do this?
Well, you will not find a tougher, more determined fiscal conservative than me. I was successful in business for 30 years because I stuck to those core fiscal conservative economic principles. And so we have got to get people back to work in California. We've got to control government spending. And with regard to immigration, I just think I've got a better plan for California. We have an enormous state, and I want to focus on really three things. I mean, first of all, I'm 100% against amnesty, but we've got to secure the border. We've got to hold employers accountable for hiring only documented workers, and we've got to eliminate sanctuary cities. But I think one of the reasons that the vice president came out to support me was my opponent, Steve Poizner, gave $21,000 to Gore and $10,000 to the Gore recount, which you can imagine, didn't sit very well with Republicans.
Or with Dick Cheney, I'd imagine. Could I ask you about what you make of Los Angeles and San Diego and San Francisco, all saying we don't want to do business with Arizona. We're so appalled by this crackdown that we're giving up all business ties.
I think the state of California and our cities and counties need to solve our problems. We have got to put our fiscal house in order, whether it's the state or whether it's Los Angeles or San Diego. We have got to cut government spending. We've got to reduce the number of people who work for the state of California. We've got to reform welfare. We've got to get our public employee pension problem under control. And we've got to use technology to solve problems and do more with less.
Yeah, but Meg, they're spending more time. I know, but they're spending more time going after Arizona for this, which might be wise. But last time I looked at your fine state and these cities, they owe a lot of money, and I would sooner be looking to do business with Iran's Ahmadinejad than turning my nose at the prospective business deal. I'm only half kidding there, but are these cities in any place to start nixing business?
My view is no. We have so many of our own problems, and this is just the typical entrenched Sacramento politicians and politicians throughout the state who just refuse to address the problems for the people of California. I mean, our state legislature has a 9% approval rating. We're down to blood relatives and paid staffers at this juncture. So let's get our own fiscal house in order. Let's get Californians back to work. Let's revive the economy. Once again, have California the very best place to start and grow a business and focus on our own issues, because that's what people of California really care about.
Which wins out for you in the end, Meg? I mean, obviously, you built a company from scratch. eBay became very rich at doing so. But right now, this is not a very popular time for rich people. They seem to be sort of lumped into the same capitalist basket. We just had someone on earlier saying, oh, the greedy bankers and the rich guys and all that. They're not talking about eBay per se, but that it's not a good time to be rich, certainly running for office. What say you?
Well, as you know, Neil, I'm a Main Street executive, not a Wall Street executive. I built eBay and enabled millions of small businesses to grow and thrive on the internet platform. And you know what I think it is time for? people are ready for politicians who have been in business, who've met a payroll, who understand how to get a return on investment, who've been on the end of receiving, or been on the receiving end of burdensome regulation. And I think people are really tired of typical Sacramento politicians that, you know, don't get anything done for the people, and they are hungering for someone who can apply some business discipline to getting this state's economy and jobs back on track.
Meg Whitman, very good seeing you again. Be well.
Nice to see you, Neil. Take care.
By the way, next week we'll have Meg Whitman's opponent, Steve Peisner, on Fair and Balanced. And when we come back, BP bad.